know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
What happens when a $300 million Disney movie tanks at the box office, and the lead actress starts crying on Instagram Live just days before the release? Rachel Zegler, Disney's Snow White, just got emotional on camera, and the internet is tearing itself apart. Some are calling her brave, others are calling it pure damage control. And with Disney desperately trying to contain a public relations disaster, this story has become way bigger than just a box office flop. From social media meltdowns to political controversy and Disney completely going silent, we're breaking down exactly how this fairy tale turned into a full-blown nightmare. Let's start with the numbers, because they're brutal. The official budget for the Snow White remake was estimated at $269 million, but insiders claim it actually ballooned past $300 million, thanks to endless reshoots, delays, and marketing costs. When you're spending Marvel movie money on a fairy tale remake, you need massive box office returns just to break even. We're talking $800 million worldwide. But early projections have been slashed. Originally expected to open at around $65 million, it's now tracking between $48 and $58 million domestically. That's not just underperforming, that's a box office disaster. Now, let's talk about Rachel Zegler, who's become the face of this entire controversy, for better or worse. When she was first cast as Snow White, a lot of people were excited. A Latina actress taking on a classic Disney princess role? Sounds like a progressive step forward, right? Well, the internet had other ideas. Critics quickly pointed out that the original story literally described Snow White as having skin as white as snow, and accused Disney of changing key elements of the character for the sake of political correctness. The backlash was immediate and loud, but things really escalated when Rachel herself started speaking out. She called the original 1937 film extremely dated, criticized the love story, and said her version of Snow White wouldn't be waiting for a prince, she'd be a leader, not a damsel. That lit a fire under online critics who saw it as Rachel mocking the story that made the character iconic in the first place. Then came the political bombshell. After the 2024 US election, where Donald Trump won re-election, Rachel took to Instagram and posted a now infamous story saying, "May Trump supporters and Trump himself never know peace." That one sentence triggered a media firestorm. Suddenly, the backlash wasn't just from film purists, it was political. Conservative commentators, Trump supporters, and even some neutral fans began calling for Disney to cut ties with her immediately. She was compared to Gina Carano, who lost her role in The Mandalorian over political posts. Disney, dead silent. They didn't defend her, they didn't condemn her, they just disappeared into the background, watching it all unfold. Fast forward to just days before the film's release, ticket sales are dismal. Social media is flooded with boycott hashtags, and media access has been severely restricted. Then, allegedly, Rachel went live on Instagram. According to multiple clips circulating online, during a heartfelt Q&A session, she appeared emotional. In the footage, she reportedly opened up about how hard she worked on Snow White, the overwhelming backlash she's faced, and how isolating the entire experience has been. Some viewers claim that she started to tear up while expressing how painful it's been to watch a project she poured herself into get dragged through the mud. At one point, she allegedly said she never intended to offend anyone, that her goal was simply to bring something fresh and modern to the character. In that same live stream, it said she mentioned receiving death threats, being afraid for her career, and feeling heartbroken as the film unraveled publicly before it even hit theaters. Clips from the stream spread rapidly, sparking another wave of debate. Some fans praised what they saw as raw honesty and vulnerability, calling it a brave moment. Others, however, weren't convinced, accusing her of staging the emotion as a calculated sympathy play just days ahead of the film's release. As with everything in this saga, the reactions were split right down the middle, and the drama only got louder from there. To be fair, Rachel did issue a formal apology after the political fallout, saying she let her emotions get the best of her and promising to be more mindful in the future. But by then, it was too late. The damage was done. Disney, clearly aware that this film is veering into PR disaster territory, scaled back its red carpet premiere and delayed ticket pre-sales until just 11 days before launch, a highly unusual move. And now, with those early box office numbers rolling in, it's becoming clear. Snow White may not just underperform, it could be one of Disney's biggest financial flops in years. At the heart of this disaster is a growing disconnect between studios and their audiences. When Disney launched its live-action remake strategy over a decade ago, it struck gold with titles like The Jungle Book and Beauty and the Beast. But over time, that magic started to wear off. The novelty faded. What used to feel nostalgic and exciting now feels corporate, recycled, and, some argue, preachy. With Snow White, fans aren't just upset about the casting or script changes. Many feel like the original story has been stripped of its soul to fit a message. And while reimagining old tales through modern lenses isn't inherently bad, the execution here has clearly divided audiences. Social media is flooded with negative reactions, ranging from disappointed Disney loyalists to open calls for boycotts. Review bomb threats started before the film even premiered. Memes mocking the film's tone and Rachel's past interviews have gone viral. YouTube commentators, film critics, and even former Disney fans are piling on, and Disney's refusal to engage or clarify their creative direction only adds fuel to the fire. Even more telling, the silence from the cast. Outside of Rachel's emotional Instagram Live, very few promotional efforts have come from the actors. No viral press tours, no major TV interviews. It feels like the film has been sent out to sea with no lifeboat. So where does this leave everyone involved? Let's start with Rachel Zegler. Just 2 years ago, she was being hailed as Hollywood's rising star. West Side Story earned her critical acclaim, a Golden Globe win, and a future that looked wide open. But now, her name is more often linked to controversy than career milestones. If Snow White continues to flop, Rachel could become an unfortunate case study in how quickly public perception can shift in the entertainment industry. Fair or not, studios may now see her as a liability, someone whose presence in a project can overshadow the film itself. That doesn't mean her career is over, but it does mean the next few choices she makes will be absolutely critical. A smart role, a strong performance, and a quieter public presence might be the best path forward. As for Disney, this could be a tipping point. If Snow White officially bombs, Disney may be forced to reconsider its entire live-action remake pipeline. Projects in development could be delayed, reworked, or even canceled. Investors will take notice. So will shareholders. And culturally, it could signal the beginning of the end for this current era of Disney storytelling, one where nostalgia meets activism with increasingly mixed results. At a time when box office margins are razor thin and audiences are demanding more originality and less corporate messaging, Disney might finally be facing the consequences of chasing headlines over heart. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.